Guys, welcome to another case study interview. Welcome, Julius.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Excited to have you here. I think this is probably one of, if not maybe the first interviews I've had with someone who's transitioned from a traditional business and gone into the high ticket sales space full time. So I think it'll be really exciting because I think your experience will offer quite a different perspective, especially people who are considering going part-time in the high ticket sales industry and half in, half out, what that's like. And a lot of people don't have a business like yourself that's more traditional, more old school. But a lot of people are transitioning out of like running their own agency or doing drop shipping or doing any number of business models because they found sales a lot more simple, which I'm sure you have more
Yeah.
than a good perspective to share on that. But the quick highlight before we dive in, guys, we're just clarifying in the commissions just before we hit record, but technically he hit just over 10K, we'll call it just over 10K. But there was like a one or two refunds that just ended up being around like 9,970 in commissions. Is that clear? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we're $29 off, if that's my math is mathing.
Okay, I don't think
But
anyone's ever gonna.
it should have been over 11 before the refunds. Not my problem. I'm gonna say that.
Okay, fair enough.
That's on the production side.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be judging you for calling it over 10K. I definitely know that I'm not, but that's where we're at. That's the highlights. And yeah, we're going to dive into Julius's story and his experience with high ticket sales, and hopefully you guys can find some value. But let's go way back before you met me. If you know you found about high ticket sales, making money online, all the rest of it. I'm curious to go into the background of like what led you to start running your previous business and what you were doing there, and maybe give the guys some context before you even met me in the first place.
Yeah, so I don't know how far we want to go back, but
Sure.
previously, before getting into high ticket sales, I had a pressure washing company, and I've been running that for the last 5 years. That I started with my brother during the COVID kind of pandemic lockdown when I got sent home from college. So started up that business, grew that over the last couple of years, and then um, as I was growing that, I was kind of documenting the journey online, mainly on like Twitter and YouTube and that kind of thing. And then last year, like late winter of 2024, I started doing my own coaching. So I was helping other guys start and grow their businesses. And that's really what introduced me to the high ticket space. And I was doing that for a little while. Didn't really like, run that up any crazy numbers. Just had a couple clients, but was also very busy. Like got very busy back in the springtime, just getting the business up and running again because it's very seasonal here, and I'm in New York, so we only pretty much work from the spring up until the fall. So got very busy with that. Didn't do much with the coaching program. Kind of let that fizzle out. Also was just never really 100% passionate about coaching people on pressure washing just because I wasn't really too passionate about the business myself, never really saw it as like a long-term thing. Um, so I had the opportunity well, I realized like I could sell the business, and it really became real when I talked to one of my buddies who sold his company, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll look into this. So I started looking into it. And then as I was doing that, I was like, what would I do once I sell this business? And just from like getting into like trying to learn sales for my coaching business, I started learning about the whole high ticket side of things. And I was like, you know what, this could be something that, I'd like to get into just because, it's one skill. You're focusing on one thing, not like marketing, sales, fulfillment. Um, and that's what I noticed over the last 5 years. I've gotten like pretty average at a lot of things, but not really good at one thing. And sales is always something that I've wanted to be good at, and I know how important and how valuable it can be. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start looking into this. And I was just going down the rabbit hole for, months. I saw your videos probably starting in like the winter of last year of 2024.
Mhm.
And like as I was running my coaching program and whatnot, and um yeah, and then at one point I just decided like, yeah, I'm gonna sell this business. I'm gonna find a buyer, and I'm getting into your program. I'm gonna start doing this.
Yeah.
So July is when I bought your program, let my coaching stuff fizzle out. I've been running my business since, since then. I just sold it like a couple weeks ago, finally,
Mhm.
and it's now, what is it, March? Yeah, or
April.
April. Oh
Just to
shit.
go. Yeah, I know.
April, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind now for the last couple months, running the business and getting into high ticket sales, but now we're full time in the high ticket sales game, and I guess here we are.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I think it's going to be very useful for a lot of people to hear the contrast of what it's been like going from running your own business to doing this. Because, of course, as I talk about all the time, and we talk about in the interviews all the time, it takes a lot of work to make this happen and
Hmm.
be successful in this industry.
Yeah,
But ultimately, in comparison and contrasting to running your previous business, there's no operational costs, there's no fulfillment, there's no team, there's no marketing. You just have to work on getting the client in, and that's it. It's pure
right.
profit. I think that's probably been a huge difference for you.
Yeah, no, it's been weird. Like seeing like commissions just come in and it's like there's no like expenses I got to pay on this. It's like it's very different, but it's definitely not easy, and I'm sure we're gonna get into all that. But like you see
100%.
from on the outside, it's like you don't even know. Like getting into this, I was like, I know this is not gonna be easy. I don't know like really how difficult this is gonna be, being that like, I've started and grown a business that I knew nothing about to a decent, a decent well, it was still small, but to a decent position. So I was like, I know this is gonna be hard. I don't know how hard it's gonna be. Like what's re like it seems too good to be true in a sense.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was obviously a huge, big part of the learning was obviously having you in the program, which I know is another thing that we'll chat about. But you definitely in this, it's a very vast space, to say the least. It's a very
Yeah.
vast space.
There's, there's a lot of stuff going on, all at the
Yeah.
same time. Everyone's trying to pull you in a different direction, and
Yep.
this way is the right way, this way is the wrong way. You're a
Mhm.
terrible person for selling this way or getting jobs this way. There's a lot of different opinions, so it's important that you pick one or two sources that you trust and basically implement through them. But anyways,
Exactly.
that's all to go to say. Thinking back to when you joined last year, I remember when we had our call together, you're just like, "Yep, I'm ready to go. Yep, no,
Yeah.
there's no real questions. I'm ready just to dive in." And you
Yeah,
were
it's
just
probably
very
like a
much,
10-minute call.
yeah, very much. It was very simple. It was very straightforward. Um, and it was funny because I think I explained to you. I'm not sure if you remember, but back then. I explained that across the board, like business owners and
Hmm.
athletes, they do very, very well in sales because they've already adopted the mindset that's required to be successful, which
Right.
is basically self-led and self-driven responsibility. Because I'm
Hmm.
sure that you can talk of this a little bit, but um, the amount of effort and responsibility and self-accountability that and ownership that's required to get to the level that you're at, even at 10K a month, which we're aiming for 20 and so on and so forth. Like to get to that point takes so much. I'm curious to hear
Yep.
your thoughts on
Yeah, no, it really does. In terms of like just everything, like it really is a self mastery, like self development game. That's one of the big things that drew me to sales, that I've always been very like, into the whole self improvement side of things, and um all that. But it really is, it's very mental. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and you gotta be like, you gotta have your ducks in a row. Like you can't just like wake up, take a couple calls, expect to make a ton of money, and then just go sit on the beach like everybody thinks. Like, yeah, there's probably a point where you can do that, but like
that.
getting into this industry, like you're gonna have to work. And if you don't come in with that right mindset, the right work ethic, then you're kind of screwed. And I think that's the big reason why a lot of guys in this space, they come in, they expect, they see all like the gurus and whatnot, the influencers that make it look so easy. They
Yeah.
expect it to be just take a couple calls and make $1,000 a day and chill around and do whatever. And then they realize how hard this is.
Yeah.
That's why there's a lot of bad closers out there. There's also just a lot of people that come into this space and the bottom is just like incredibly flooded. And I noticed that immediately. So I was like, I need to like not be at this level as soon as possible. And I need
Yeah.
to start like getting out of this.
I think it's from an effort point of view, like a standard point of view, as well as professionalism standard view, like
Hmm.
point of view as well.
Yeah.
Like I think for a lot of the newer guys, the space that are watching this, or maybe you're considering getting a high ticket sales. I made a video about this recently. It's fascinating to hear you say that from your perspective, that the the lower threshold is extremely crowded, but anywhere above that is it's anyone's game. It's kind
Yeah.
of their taking because there's very few people who are actually willing to do what they're saying they're willing to do and make the sacrifices they're willing to, basically saying they're willing to make.
Right.
Because if again, if you're new and you're watching this, it's very much that if you have a 10K a month goal, you have to have a 10K a month effort that matches it. If you want to make $20,000 a month, if you want to make six figures a month, I'm not saying that you can do it in high ticket sales, you can, but that's probably like the 0.001%.
Mhm.
But like every threshold of income has a different level of effort and a different level of strategy that's required to get there. So if you're wondering on what's required to get to those numbers that you see online and all the case studies in the channel, it's a shitload of effort. That's really what it requires. A lot of effort, a lot of failing, and a lot of mistakes, because I'm sure we'll dive into that of,
Hmm.
offers you've taken and things you've learned about sales and how not complex it is, but how much learning there really is to do. It looks very simple from the outside. So let's go back to when you joined the training program. You were running your own business on the side and you were trying to exit that, sell that, and you were trying to do high ticket sales at the same time and juggle that. What was that experience like? When did you get your first offers? Like, what did that all look like?
Yeah, that I mean this last year, 2024 was the most insane year of my life. Like I had so much going on between running the business while trying to sell it, dealing with employees and all that. I just bought a place that I was renovating to, so I was like managing and also doing a lot of the renovations myself. That truck, remember I hit you up? I was like, yeah, I'm trying to sell this truck and I'll get into your program. And it was taking too long, so I was like, screw it. I'm just getting into the program now. I'll sell this truck down the line, whatever.
Yeah.
So there were so many different things like logistically going on in my life that um, it was it was just nuts. But getting into the space part time, it's definitely like I mean most guys that are coming in are not going to have the luxury of just being able to go full time. So like it's very doable, and it's like obviously a lot of people do it, but you have to have some kind of guidance, or you just got to be taking the right steps. And I mean the easiest way to take the right steps and know what you're doing is to have guidance. That's why I've always been a believer in like investing in myself, into coaches, mentors, whatever it might be. Because you could either spend a ton of time and energy trying to figure it out yourself, or just having someone show you exactly what to do and what not to do. Because like, yeah, this it seems very easy on the outside, but as soon as you get into the space, you're gonna realize how much of a kind of a shit show it is. In the
Yeah.
especially at the bottom. So you gotta really having somebody guide you, especially if you're part-time, because you gotta use your time as wisely as possible.
Yeah.
So if you don't have all day every day to just be doing research and figure out and test different things, like you gotta have someone guiding you. So getting into RSA in July, like immediately it wasn't just like me now trying to figure out what to do and just watching a ton of YouTube videos. It's just like, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that, and just like stay on track. You just like gave me a plan. And like with the little bit of time that I did have, sometimes it was only like an hour a day that I could dedicate to the business or dedicate to sales.
Hmm.
So in that hour, I would just like kind of prioritize what needed to be prioritized and just get those things done. Anything else would have to get pushed off. But yeah, like I probably could have done this a little quicker. But being that like I really did have a lot of time constraints for the last couple months, like it was, obviously that's just the way it goes. But
Yeah.
having the guidance is like a complete game changer. Because then you see guys that are in the space that don't invest in themselves, they don't get into any kind of programs, and they're just out here swimming in deep water trying to figure it out. They're just
Hmm.
like they have no idea where to go, no training, and you can really tell, I feel like.
Mm. And it was crazy that you pulled all this off in the time that you did, considering that the majority of the time that you've been in the training program, because you've only exited your business like less than 60 days ago or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, something like that.
2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's like the whole time since you've joined, you've basically been kind of battling this journey with one hand behind your back. Yet you're
Yeah,
still here now, which is amazing to see.
yeah. Didn't really get too much sleep the last like year of my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. Selling a
Yeah,
business, exiting a business can be stressful alongside
yeah.
trying to juggle all this. So you came in, you were kind of half in, half out, um, especially with everything you're managing outside of high ticket sales. How you mentioned that you committed like an hour a day outside of uh just like an hour a day doing the right activities and things like that. Like, what would you suggest to someone who's like looking to get into high ticket sales who can
Mhm.
only do part time? People who can't just jump straight into it full time. There might be some younger guys that are watching this that you can go full time and you're living with
Mhm.
your parents, and I have a ton of clients that can do that. But speaking to the people who are currently only be able to have like part-time availability, like what would you suggest to some of those people to enter the space, and like how would you go about it?
Yeah, really the biggest thing like you talk about is just building your brand. So like, well, you have to it's much easier to build your brand when you're actually doing something. So of course, like you want to try to get on your first offer and whatnot, but even just like starting to build out your social media pages, getting in contact with all the people in the space, just that's kind of like the first thing I did was like I created a new Facebook account. I already had a separate Instagram for like business documentation things. Um, so I just started kind of posting about my kind of transition almost from like the business. Like for me, I guess it was a little easier to start posting about it because I had another business that I was already like kind of posting about and then kind of talking about why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm getting to the space and all that. But even for someone just starting out, like just get like get your brand set up, like your accounts. Facebook is obviously like the bubble, right? But anything, all the other accounts as well, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you suggest in the program, I forget, but get these accounts going, start building up the brand, like start networking with other guys. Like especially if like you're in a program like the RSA, like there's so many people to start connecting with, and you don't know how important that's going to be down the line. Like having dudes that you're close with, especially in this space,
Mm,
because it can be a very lonely space, especially if you don't have anyone that you're actually connected with. So start
yeah.
connecting with people, start posting, do role plays, whatever it is, and just start building up that like, social media presence and showing people that like you're a legit person. Don't do everything like the same thing that everybody else is doing though. Like just
Mm,
posting like daily stats that no one really cares about. I feel like, I mean,
hmm.
I don't know if no one cares about them. I don't know. In your experience, I never really posted like daily stats.
I
Um,
agree.
but I think just more, just like kind of be yourself when it comes to social media. Like talk about your honest, I don't know, like your honest efforts getting into the space, why you're getting into the space, what you're all about, that type of thing. Not just like, oh, I made 200 dials today and I, you know, got like 5 sets or whatever it might be. Like be more of a person. I feel like that's really what
What's missing?
people, yeah, what people want to see. And people kind of just get tired of like, okay, I don't care that this dude made like 200 dials, unless it's like some insane thing. If it's some
Yeah.
like an insane stat, then like, of course, post it, right? But in the beginning, like just focus on, in my opinion, getting the brand started, starting to build out your network, and of course, starting to do some training and sales. Because if you land a role and you have no idea how to sell, then that's also going to be a problem. vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people want very big roles, yet they don't have the confidence or the capability to sell. I'm
Right.
curious to hear your experience with that. Like, what has it been like learning sales as a skill? I mean, you've done sales for your own business, but like doing sales for high ticket sales, I'm sure you found is quite different. A lot of people come to me. It's probably the most annoying thing that I've ever heard from people who've had sales experience in the past or any kind of somewhat sales related career. Oh, I did this in XYZ career. I know how to sell. Let me just find a job. Or I've sold cars before, like I know how to sell, like just give me a job or like show me how to get a job. What's your insight on that in terms of like going from selling for your own business to selling for actual individual companies for high ticket sales specifically? Like what has the contrast been? Like what has the difference been for you personally?
Yeah, there's a lot of differences for sure. Because like on a sales call, let's say, you're selling a coaching program or whatever, it's like, yeah, there's intent there because obviously, the client booked in or the prospect booked in, but selling something like pressure washing services is going to be a lot different, in my opinion, because yes, there's a lot of similarities, but at the same time, it's like selling pressure washing services or any kind of home service, in-person business, whatever, it basically just comes down to sounding professional, connecting with the client, and just being likable. Where in high ticket sales, it's more so like you're getting somebody to spend a ton of money on something that they would have never been able to do on their own. Right. So it's like you have to, like, there's a whole like rewiring of the brain and thought patterns there that goes on where in selling to, home service clients, it's kind of more basic. Like, yeah, I need my house washed. That's like
Mm,
great. Like it's gonna be this price. Like, oh, you have a great backyard, by the way. I love it. Like, just like be nice to them and like show up, look professional, show that you can do a good job.
mm,
Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it. I'm kind of just like brushing over it, but still, like the depth that high ticket sales goes into, like you really have to have a whole different understanding of like how to like really listen to your clients, your prospects proactively while like knowing what to say next. Um, Obviously something I'm still working on, like, because I go over my call reviews and there's like so many things I don't pick up on sometimes, and I'm like, I could have just ripped open that belief right there. Like that was a limiting belief, could have probed. It's like, but it's hard to explain, but I think it's very deep.
yeah.
Like it's a very deep type of sale.
Yeah. It's as if like the sales that most people are used to, you can kind of just pick up a book and read on it. And you can pick up a
Hmm.
couple books in sales. You can kind of like
Yeah.
get the things and you can kind of figure it out. And in most of those jobs, they're not commission only, whereas in this job, it's commission only. So you need to be very, very good. It's a high performance sport. So if
Yep.
you're not very good at what you do, you're going to be left behind and not make much money. So you really, I'm not talking about you have to become a savant of sales. I'm not saying
Hmm.
that, guys. If you're a beginner watching this, don't get scared away. But I say this with intention to create the right expectation, which is that sales, if you're new to this, should be something that you get quite obsessed with, I would say, for 1, 2, 3 years before transition to something else. Like you really should be thinking, breathing, living sales for the next 1, 2, 3 years to set yourself up because moving on from the expectations of sales, but more or less the transition to another thing, a lot of you watching, just like Julius, I'm sure as well, is that high ticket sales is only vehicle to get from one spot to the next. It's not something that you're going to stick with for the rest of your life. At least 99% of you watching this video. Same thing for Julius, is it's a place where you can build a lot of skills, make a lot of money really, really fast, stack a lot of cash really fast, and gain enough leverage to then start your own business so that you can grow your cash flow even further, right? I think a lot of people think that high ticket sales is the be all end all. It's very much a transitory industry. It's not like a marketing agency. It's not like drop shipping. It's not like Amazon FBA. Building a brand, you are building skills so that ultimately you can build your own business in the future. Kind of like you were doing before, particularly you, Julius. that you kind of just figured that's not something that you're massively ready for. It's just like it's a whole different uh it's just a whole different thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And that's like one of the big reasons why I got into, this industry is because there is so much that you can learn. And obviously, like, yeah, you can make money doing it and good money doing it. But it's, even this, like, I don't want to be doing high ticket sales for my entire life. Probably not even, like, I don't want to just be a remote sales rep for even 10 years, probably. Like, yeah, I would still love to be doing some sales in 10 years, like at my own company or for whatever. But I see this as like a very transitional type of thing where now, like I said, like I'm focusing on one skill, getting really good at that skill, kind of learning the online business space. Because I mean, when you're working in these businesses, you see exactly what's going on. So that's another like huge part of it that really attracted me is like you see the offers, you see the automations, like the follow-ups and how all the back end works to these businesses that are doing 100, 200, a million a month. And these are things that if you can learn and understand, then you can become a very, very valuable person to other businesses or yourself if you want to start another business. And online business is always kind of the route I wanted to go, but I knew that I would need some more skills in order to do that at some point. So like
Yeah.
I don't know what the next step would actually be. I'm just here to get good as sales as I can be.
Mm.
Um, and then kind of just see where that takes me through connections, working with other guys, whether it's, working myself up in a company into some, higher up position, or whether it's branching off and starting my own thing, who knows? But like when you build up this skill, it's like you can do anything with it. And that's like one of the things that like got me so obsessed with this skill and why I'm like you said, just like eat, sleep, and breathe sales like every
Yeah, I
day.
love it. Yeah, I think a big thing for like a lot of you that are watching this that want to start your own business in the future, considering high ticket sales as a transitory vehicle, definitely take into consideration. It's not something that you have to do for 5 years if you don't need to. It's not necessary. If you can get a little bit better than good at sales itself, doing it for your own business in the future will be very, very easier. Very not easier, very easy. I've experienced it myself personally in two different separate businesses now. And yeah, if you don't have to become a savant. You don't have to be exceptional. You just have to be a little bit better than good, and you'll be better than most. And for selling for an offer in the future, I've seen a lot in the past, like people who are running like SMMAs, or service-based business owners really struggle because they can't sell, and to get someone to replace them they need to be at a certain level of business, which usually they can't even get to because they can't sell in the first place. So it's kind of like a paradox. So it's very, very important that if you're looking to start your own business in the future, to get somewhat decent or a little bit better than decent at sales, because it's going to be very tough in the beginning. When you first do your own business, I'm sure you had some experiences doing that with your coaching business very briefly as well, how tricky
Oh
that
yeah,
can.
that was brutal. Like
Yeah.
the coaching business, because that was a high ticket, like it was, I don't know, it's like a 4K thing that I was selling to people
Mm.
online. And like obviously there was a huge part of it that was also like the conviction where, the imposter syndrome kicks in. It's like, can I even really help people? So that was a big part of it, being that like I've never actually coached people before. But hands down, the hardest part about it was that I didn't actually know how to sell. And like I
Mm.
bought into another program last winter of 2024, that I thought would really teach me how to sell. And like they did, but it was shit, for lack of a better term. Like
In
I-
comparison to now,
it was
or
like just like their the selling part of this program sucked. And I was horrible because of it. I had no prior, high ticket sales experience. So that's where like I learned my initial high ticket sales, like over a year ago now. And I spent a lot of money on this program. It was like a program it was like coaching coaches how to be coaches, right?
okay,
Or
gotcha.
coaching people how to be coaches or whatever. And it was just super general. And definitely not the way to go. But
How much
you know,
was it?
it was 7,500
Gotcha. Yeah.
US. So spent a lot of money on that. Can't say it was the worst thing. I met some cool people there, and I did end up making my money back. Like I did close a couple people with what I learned from there, but still I had like no idea what I was doing when it came to selling. And like if I I probably still have those recordings. I gotta wa watch them, but they were brutal.
Yeah.
So brutal.
It's tough selling for your own business when you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
thinking about it now, like even right now, I'm not like I've been in this like, 3 full months I've been um 3 full-time months I've been selling now. And it's been like six part-time for like 6 months.
Mm.
But I'm not like obviously I'm not like crazy good at sales yet. I'm still learning every single day a ton and not even close to where I want to be, but even just where I'm at now from where I was when I was, selling my own program, vast, vast difference, like such a big difference.
Yeah.
And I just think about like if I knew what I knew now, like how many more people could I have sold?
Yeah.
But
It's night and day. Like returning back to your own coaching business in the future or anything to do with service based or info, it's much, much easier when you actually know how to sell. So that's why I actively encourage a lot of new people who are new to the space or making money online in general. You can do that, but just earn your stripes first in a bit of a way. Like learn how to sell because it makes things infinitely easier. And it's you can't
yeah,
hire someone else to replace you when you don't even know how to sell yourself. But
right.
those 3 full-time months that you've been working, and obviously three of them was part-time as well. So six in total. What what has it taken to get into the point to where you're at now in terms of sales skill, in terms of opportunities? Like, what does the effort look like? What does your
Mhm.
routine look like? Just to give the guys a bit of insight of like what actually takes to make this possible.
Yeah, so do you want me to talk like first the part-time months kind of?
Yeah, go.
So my first offer was in September and very, very complicated offer. I don't know if you remember. It was like
Do.
the automations. It was
Yeah.
like automation systems for like home service businesses. Very complicated thing to sell. It's like when you think about what problem they solve or what challenge, it's like there's a lot of different things. So like it was, and I also was not good at sales and was like just really getting started. So like it was pretty tough, but I just came in and because I knew like kind of how home service business owners like thought and I could relate to them, I was able to just do the same thing that I would do for like my business, just be confident, sound professional, and just sell it that way. So I actually ended up selling um it was like a $12,000 ticket. And I sold like the owner, he was like, if you can come in and sell like one this month, like I'll consider keeping you. And I sold like five or six.
Nice.
And he was like, holy shit. Um, so that was that was in like September. And I think that was like a lot of luck. I don't know what happened there because then like in October and November, it was just like one sale. And so I was running my business from 8 in the morning to 4 or 5 in the afternoon and then taking calls like in the afternoon. But I also had an employee that was doing a lot of the work. So I'd also be trying to like schedule my days so that I'd be taking calls like throughout the day as well. So like it was all over the place. It wasn't just like same thing, 9 to 5 work in the business and then 5 to 9 working the sales. It was like I could be taking calls in the morning, could be taking calls in the afternoon throughout the day, while managing my employee, going out and checking the jobs and whatnot. Like it was all over the place. Um, so that was pretty much what it was like until like December is really when things in the business started to taper off just because of seasonality. And I got into another offer. I and the way I got both of these offers, because I know people are going to be wondering, um, is like the Facebook ads method, or I forget what you call it, but like I would just be
Reverse.
like, yeah, I would just be like searching things on Google or whatever, and then I would just get targeted by those ads, and then I would
Mm,
just click on those ads and message message the account, be like, and they were both home service business, like related offers. So I
hmm
just used that to my advantage. I was like, hey, I have a pressure washing business that I'm currently selling, getting into high ticket sales. Like, are you guys looking for a closer? And that's how I got both of those first two roles.
Right.
So I got into this second offer, which is the one that I'm still on, which is a coaching program for exterior cleaning business owners. That was, I think, like November is when I got onto that. So, and then I left the other one. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like it was brutal. Like when you're closing less than 5%. And like he then hired two other people. So there wasn't enough leads for me or for anyone. A lot of these, like there was no sales process. It was all over the place. And his advice, like the owner, awesome dude, love the guy, but his advice for us in terms of selling, like, dude, all that stuff online, it doesn't work anymore. He's like, you can't have like a process or a structure or anything like that. He's like, dude, you just gotta be yourself. You just gotta connect with the person. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, I feel like there's like there's got to be a better way to actually do this. Like, obviously, what you're teaching, I was trying to implement some structure. He's like, nah, man, don't do that. Don't do that. So I was like, all right. I was like, I gotta leave this. So I left that offer, started going more full-time-ish into this offer. Business
Mm,
kind of died down in December, so that was kind of on the back burner. And then since December, I've been like full time now into this. So
mm,
um, now that I've been like full time on this offer and full time in the space, I've been like really starting to have some kind of like a regimented schedule, or like I'll go to the gym at 6 a.m., come back, first thing I do is like a call review every single day. Because like call reviews, if you're not doing call reviews, like you're just shooting yourself in the foot. I can't believe that people don't do call reviews because it's like there's so many things that you miss. And if you're not picking up on these things afterwards, it's like you're just never gonna pick up on them. So like how do you get better? But call review and then it's just straight into the day. What do I got on the schedule? Like I confirm all my calls. Um, if I don't have anything in the morning, I'll probably just a lot of my a lot of our prospects are like out west, so they're 3 hours behind us. So I don't really start calling or doing follow-ups until like 11-ish, if that. But usually I just use the morning for like call reviews, kind of getting my day set up, confirming calls, and then yeah, from there it's been sporadic. Like in terms of like the call volume and all that, it's been all over the place. But
mm.
I ended up getting onto another offer setting in, I think it was like late April. No, it's April now. What am I saying? Late, dude, I'm all over the place. January or Feb? No, it's like late February, I think.
Yeah.
February. February. So I got into this setting offers for marketing services for real estate agents. And as you might know, realtors are a real,
Pain in the
real,
ass.
real fun group of people to deal with.
Yeah, yeah.
So especially setting. So it's basically you're basically like cold calling realtors. And I
Yeah.
did that for a week. I literally had no time for anything. 6 a.m. gym, come home, eat as quick as possible, take a quick shower if I even have time, get on my computer and start dialing. And then I also had closing calls for my other offer, and I had to make my dials. So like there was points where I was like even canceling calls from that offer if I didn't think that they were going to be qualified or whatever, just so that I can, make my dials. And I did that for a week. I made zero money on my other offer where I was doing about like 1,000 to 2,000 a week typically in commissions. Didn't close a single call on my other offer. Setting on the real estate offer for that week, I made like maybe 400 bucks. I set a ton of people and like I did what I had to do to like keep my position there. But I realized the numbers didn't make sense in the company. And like, yeah, they were ramping up or whatever from what they were saying, but I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. Like, why am I taking this role when I already have a closing position where if I just focused on that, I could probably hit 10K. And just like if I take this effort and put it into the other offer, I should be able to hit 10K.
Yeah.
And so I left that. I was there for a week. I was like, fuck this. I don't know if we can curse on here or not, but
No,
um,
we're all good.
let's just bleep it out. So I left that, and like that was like one of the most stressful weeks of my life. Like I was just like slaving away every day, just making calls, getting yelled at by realtors. I was like, I hate this. I was like, I
Yeah.
actually hate this. So I left that. Now just focused on this one offer. And because like I actually have some like mental space now and I could just like breathe and like also get in my call reviews because I wasn't doing any call reviews during that period, like nothing. It was just like make dials, get on closing calls, go back to making dials, and just it was all over the place. Like didn't even have time to like cook dinner. I would finish up at like 8 o'clock at night and
Mm.
then just go like right to bed. It was ridiculous. Um, but what was I saying? Yeah, so like now just focusing on this one offer, and that's been great because that was at the end of February or whatever, and March I had the best month that I've ever had because I just stayed with one thing, kind of focused. Now it's kind of slightly concerning with the lead flow right now, and I can't just
Mm.
like rely on doing follow-ups and dialing the list. But I think that there having a second offer is definitely going to be something I'm looking into. But
I think there was a lot of learnings that a lot of new guys to the space or even people that are looking to get into it can kind of extrapolate from that, which is one, have two offers, two, find one or two offers that you can actually put your energy towards and actually get the reward you're looking for. Three, check the numbers of the offer and make sure that's actually legit because if
yep.
we're doing the dials and we're setting calls for people, we can't actually make the money that we want if they can't close.
Hmm.
And number four, for the love of God, do not work with realtors.
Yeah.
It's honestly, guys, I'm just gonna give you my 2 cents. You can sell them. There's great offers that serve them, but if you want Julius or I's 2 cents, which is why you're watching this video in the first place, we would both suggest wholeheartedly just avoid the market. They're just very hard people to sell. And if you're a real estate agent watching this, don't take offense, but they are very hard to work with and they are very difficult prospects to sell because they're salespeople themselves and they're sometimes they're one of the most squirmiest prospects you can ever experience. So if you're wondering, just avoid real estate prospects in general. I know that personally from personal experience as well and through
Yep.
other people that I know that have worked such accounts of businesses. So all great learnings. Besides those, what would you say were probably some of the biggest learnings after being full time in the space for the past couple months?
Um, I would say just like don't overcomplicate it.
Mm,
I'd say yeah, like the really, really big thing is stop trying to like get super fancy with everything. And when I say that, I mean like specifically with your sales structure. Like so a big problem for me was like I didn't understand the foundation, the actual like foundational basics of what makes a good call. What do we need? Or like what do we need to get out of the prospect? What points do we really have to like kind of maneuver through in this call before like we should be pitching? What should we get out of them? How should they be feeling? Like you gotta have an actual understanding of like really what you're doing in each section of the call. And if you don't, it's going to be very, very hard to get good in a sense because if you're just looking for like those, a perfect script or like all those fancy one-liners, if it's not like if it's not like fitted to you, it's going to be very awkward. So like all those people that are trying to sound like Jeremy Minor, right? Like it's like it's cringy. And
Yeah.
like I've tried like I've because I didn't like understand sales at like a foundational level. I was just trying to take like other people's script and kind of use that and see like, oh, what actually works, what's going to work for this offer or that offer. But like the foundational level, it's all the same thing. And once you understand like really what it is that you need to get out of this person in each section of the call, then like you're good to go. And you can make a script for yourself for any offer.
Mm.
And then you actually like understand just like how to have a conversation. Because then it actually becomes like you talking with the client, still understanding what you need to get out of it, but not sounding like a some generic robot, right? Like, and that's one of the biggest things I've learned, and that's one of the reasons why I've been able to actually like close people at a pretty decent rate for the most part, is because
Mm.
when it comes to like objection handling, I never really like memorized all like the fancy like reframes and analogies and things like that. Like, yeah, I have a couple that I use that like I've kind of just made up on the spot or are more custom to me. But like when I tried using like other people's like fancy reframes, it never worked for me.
Mm.
That I would just be like, yeah, it sounds good, but like, yeah, I still need to think about it. All right, like you just have to have like a genuine conversation with somebody, be yourself, and just like actually level with them. Like yesterday, I closed some girl. I posted about this on Facebook. I was objection handling her for like 20 minutes, and she was getting kind of pissed. She was like, hey, like I really don't appreciate the pressure, like you trying to get me to buy right now. And I knew like wholeheartedly, like she was the most ideal prospect in the perfect position. Her business was like in a very perfect spot, and they've been losing money for the last year. Like they've lost a couple 100,000. I'm like, we can help, like seriously help you. So I literally
Mm.
just leveled with her, and I didn't pull out any like fancy reframes or whatever. I was just like, listen, I'm not here to apply pressure. You don't have to make a decision on this call, but I'm just here to, of course, help you make a decision that you've been needing to make for the last year. And if, you want to get off this call, that's completely fine. But if you're looking for every reason not to make this decision, then you will find every reason not to do it. But right now, we have every reason to do it. So if you get off this call, there's a very, very big chance that I don't hear from you again and you keep doing what you're doing and your business just keeps failing. And then she agreed. And then I closed her. Like
Nice.
it was no like, well, whatever fucking reframe you want to you want to throw on their analogy. Like you just got to
Yeah.
level with people. So basically long-winded answer, understand the basics. And you talk about this too. Like you don't need to spend 20, 30, $40,000 on all these different sales trainings. Just
Yeah.
understand the foundation, like the basics, understand what you need to get from each section of the call. And then from there, like you learn that, you genuinely understand like what to do and what to say in a call or what you need, then you can basically say whatever you want in order to get those things out. The way that you say things, not the way that other people say it, right? And that's really where I think like this space is going because there's a lot of resistance out there, right?
Hmm.
It's no more just like you can be just go through a script and close people. Like you got to have a genuine connection with people nowadays with all
Mm.
like the skepticism and whatnot. So that's a big part of the space that I'm seeing a lot of people start to talk about. Of course, it's like you can't just be a sales robot. You got to be a person. You got to be able to have like a legitimate conversation with people. So
100%. All very, very good insights to the industry for sure. Especially for someone who's looking to jump into it, or even like a beginner that's been in the high ticket sales space for a while. So let's talk about your overall experience with RSA and like everything that you've seen inside the training program. Like, what would you say like your general feedback would be generally working with me, what I've been like, what the program structure's like, just generally your overall feedback of like actually being inside the community.
yeah, well, it's terrible. No, I'm kidding. RSA is like it's one of the best out there. For people that are just getting into the space, well, it's probably the best for people just getting into this. Like I don't know of any other programs that like breaks things down in such a basic, easy to understand and comprehend format. And one thing about you is like you genuinely care about your clients, which, a lot of people in the space don't, unfortunately. But you've always answered my questions whenever I hit you up, which is like a huge thing. The community is incredible. And that's exactly why, I was attracted to your communities because, well, first I found your YouTube channel. I went through all the case studies, watched all the videos, and I can't believe that I'm also just now here. Like I've literally like visioned myself. I'm like, I'm gonna be on a case study call with Connor on his YouTube channel one day. And I even told you that too. I was like, I'm
Hey,
gonna get there, dude. I was like, I'll be there soon, don't you worry. But the people like you you're real. Like you tell people how it is. Not like, oh, you want to see how I make $20,000 a day just like, sitting on the beach. Like there's so much BS out there. And that's it just goes back to the same thing like having a genuine connection with people on your sales calls too. It's like you have like a like you it's just like it's genuine. Like the way that you talk about the space, the way that you portray yourself and the community, it attracts people that work hard, that are willing to put in the work because that's how you show it. Like you tell them how it is.
mm,
And there's a lot of hardworking dudes in the RSA, and I've realized like it's a very active community. It's a
yeah,
great community to be a part of. Bunch of savages. People are producing numbers left and right. Like there are like I guess it's just because like you've set it up very well with your brand, all these case study videos, being super real about everything, telling people like it's hard. Like this is not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But like if you're willing to put in the work, like I can help you get there. So I know there's going to be, of course, a lot of people that are skeptical, and that's just the way it is. But if you want to get into an actual legitimate program that's lays things out for you how they actually are, gives you like the basics of what you need to know and not all like the fancy extra BS, RSA is the community to be in, hands down.
I appreciate it. And I mean, you have probably conversed with and talked with a few people in the high tier sales space now that you're fully immersed in it as well. And you said a lot of the community members stood out to you as people who are hardworking, who are getting after and actually putting some numbers on the board.
Mhm.
What And I'm curious, you may or may not have. I'm curious if you've spoken to other people who joined the space to other programs and what you found like the contrast has been like meeting with other people who've maybe been sold into a bit of the dream a little bit, or maybe just haven't got the resources they've needed. Have you seen a bit of a contrast there? Have you spoken to many people from different training programs in the space, or has it just been mainly people inside the RSA?
It's I've definitely talked to a lot of guys in the space. Um, but a lot of these dudes are like further along. So I don't know
Mm,
exactly like kind of where they came from or kind of what that was all about. But um I've definitely talked to like a lot of people that are just getting started that like have no idea what they're doing.
yeah,
Like they're just like completely lost.
yeah.
And
What are they typically doing that is kind of making them lost, or they're not getting to where they want to go, do you think?
yeah, like they're not focusing on like building their brand, which is super important. They're not, you know, looking for other creative ways to get jobs and land offers. They're just kind of going into the Facebook groups and applying to all these like shitty offers that, 900 other people are applying to, and it doesn't it's not really a sustainable way to get anywhere in the space.
Mm.
So, I mean, and that's kind of just where a lot of people fall into. The people that think that this is going to be some easy thing, they see it on YouTube, they're like, yeah, I'm going to be a closer. And then they just like get into these Facebook groups and they'll trying to apply and whatnot. It's like I want to know what the churn rate of people coming into the space and then leaving within like the first month is. Like I want to
Huge.
know. It's probably insane.
Yeah, massive. And I'll expand on that just briefly for those who are curious. Like the main reasons a lot of people join any business model, whether it's like SMMA or drop shipping or Amazon FBA or trading or whatever it is, it's the same thing with high ticket sales. There's two massive gaps right now that I genuinely do believe that the RSA provides, which is number one, the right expectations, right? If people have the wrong expectations, they think it's going to be fast, easy, overnight, by the beach. Even if you think you're going to achieve this in 3 months, it's just not, it's very unlikely to happen, right? You have to 6 months to a year time frames. Hell, even 1, 2, 3 years, that's how long you should be thinking. If your expectations are correct, and they've done very well through a lot of my YouTube videos, these case studies, you understand how difficult it is. You're set up very well even from that aspect. But even from that component, having the right support and a community and training and one-on-one is critical to actually making this work. Um, if you're looking at a bunch of training programs right now, I know personally where I've found the least success is just straight up group training programs. You're treated like a number, you pass off to a group of coaches, you have a client success manager that's maybe helping you out a little bit, but you're never really speaking to the guy behind the stuff. And a lot of people might think now that we have 250 plus members and this will be the 34th case study in the YouTube channel that RSA has grown too big and you don't get as much attention as you might as used to. I mean, you can probably attest to yourself, like on a daily basis, you're getting responses from me and
Yep.
only me. It's not a
Yeah,
coach program. You have access to more people, but where I think a lot of the results comes from is having that one-on-one support from the guy that you originally wanted to work with and that you trust and actually knows what they're doing. Because if you're passed off to just a team of people who I guess a business is trying to scale, then you're not going to quite get the attention that you're looking for and the support that you're looking for and the quality of support that you're looking for as well. I think that's an important detail.
100%. Yeah, I would definitely agree. Because I've been a
Cool.
part of a lot of groups as well, and you get responses in like 2 days, or
Lucky
if
if you
you can
got
even
you.
get, yeah, if you even get a response. Like,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
it's just a ton of people, in every call, and it's not where you want to be.
I agree. It's a huge difference. So cool. That's fantastic. I think that's some really good feedback. If there's any final notes that you wanted to leave the guys with today, anything you want to finish off, any final notes? Is there anything you'd like to share or?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. Just like have some patience. Like it takes time.
Mhm.
I Getting good at sales is it's tough. And that's one thing I kind of battled with is like I want it to be good immediately.
Yeah.
And like I feel like just now I'm starting to like kind of understand it. And like I'm still nowhere near where I could be and where I'm gonna be. But it like you say and like everybody says, like all the top guys, it takes time. Like you don't start getting fancy with it. Keep it simple and just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Just understand the basics. Don't go off track and just put in the time. That's what I'm doing. That's I trust the process, like, and it's working. So
Beautiful. Great advice. So fantastic, guys. Hopefully you enjoy that interview. If you want to be like Julius and get the same results, if you think that you're like Julius, it's an important thing. You think like you're like Julius or any of my case studies in the channel, There's a link down below in the description to see if you might be a fit for the community. You may be, you may not. Put some actual details and effort into your application. We do cancel applications that just put, I want to make money for the reason they want to join. So put some effort into it, actually give it some thought, because the reason, again, we get such great results of people is we work with great people like Julius and all the other case studies in the channel. We don't just provide the support, the training, the mentorship, but it's the person that carries the result too. So we're very, very selective with who we work with, and that's why we get such great results. From what I've seen, as far as the case studies perspective, some of, if not the best in the space for the community size and the time we've been around. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you got some value, and we'll see you guys in the next one.